Hello there. I'm aware of how late this is, but my options were rather limited as to how I would address everything, so I decided to take a step back and assess the damages, whilst also starting to take measures to make sure this does not happen again. That is something I'll be covering in greater detail later on, which leaves me with the issues at hand, being what occurred between myself, Just a Robot, and Linlin. If you have the time, I advise you watch their video if you haven't done so already, because it also dives back into my older Harley TBS video, which they had previously picked apart. Regardless, I'll be implementing some information myself so you can see it from start to finish. Originally, Jar and Harley TBS had an argument on Twitter regarding a thumbnail which ultimately ended up being a long thread, so I took that to be used as a Skullman Speaks topic. The next day, Jar gets in contact with me and on Twitter to try go over the issues they had regarding what I had done and said within the video itself. After chatting for a while, Jar invited me to call so we could settle this properly, but I flat out ignored him until Lyle Convoy scolded me during a call and I got back into contact with Jar to have the call. The call was had, I removed the video and made a public apology on my YouTube channel and Twitter. After a couple weeks, Linlin released their video regarding Jar, to which he messaged me in hopes of talking with Linlin about what had been discussed in the prior call. Instead, I created a lie and sent that to Linlin, stating that Jar wanted the video gone, alluding to him potentially calling Linlin out for the video in question, and shared a document which Jar hadn't given me permission to do so. This mattered a lot more due to the content being screenshots of private DMs. With these concerns in hand, Linlin, Jar and Lyle Convoy met for a call to discuss this, but found out that the issue at the core of everything was fabricated. As such, I was confronted in Senate about all of this and revealed that I had lied on the basis of being bitter about the removal of my video surrounding the Twitter fight, which led to me sending what I had to Linlin. That's the outline of this whole situation. A bitter person using their acquaintance as a tool in order to get back at someone who had done no wrong to begin with. There's no other side if you're holding out judgment, because that's everything. It's an act I did selfishly, as if it would make me feel better to see these people fighting instead now. It was only after being confronted did I get a grasp of the full weight of things and how bad everything could have gotten had Linlin mentioned this to others or made a video or whatever else, since others may have jumped on it to defend or harass Jar, or vice versa with Linlin. Even if I had been found out later, the damage would have long since happened by that point, so Linlin, I apologise for flat out lying to you and potentially jeopardising your future in the commentary community, all because I had the inability to suck it up and deal with it as an adult should. I betrayed your trust and will keep my distance moving forwards. Likewise, Just a Robot, I apologise for betraying your trust too after everything seemed to have calmed down between the both of us, only for me to cause you unnecessary issues. I'll make sure that no other apologies are sent your way from me. Whilst I am wrapping everything up, I think it is important for me to apologise to someone else who has been deserving of one for a while now, despite how feverishly I have fought to keep this idea in front of the common eye. For the longest time, I have accused someone called Moomin for being a raider, who sent their fans to spam Gore and Harley TBS's server, with my only evidence being testimonial from another user alongside some empty screenshots which proved nothing. I made these claims after receiving the evidence from Harley themselves, but should have used better judgment instead of showing them into my video with little care for how valid they were, which led to my negligence coming back to bite me later down the line. After that original video, I just kept pushing the notion that this was in fact all the evidence necessary to prove Moomin had done it, despite the constant pushback I received from others. Even after Foxton posted their tweet showing the server messages, I still persisted and assumed they were from the same time as the original raid, since I never went back to cross-examine the dates of when things happened, which made me look even more idiotic when I used them. It's with hindsight a want to tie this all up and the crushing reality of it all that I drop all allegations of Moomin ever causing the Gore raid and no longer stand with the idea that they had a hand in any raid of the sort. They are innocent of such claims in my eyes. Additionally, I wish to apologise for my behaviour whenever we haven't interacted, whether in private or in public, as I was rather childish and not acting as I should have been doing when trying to present a fair criticism of you. I very much detest how I came across during my tier list video, where I spoke upon you in an unprofessional manner that was pointless really, besides trying to get a cheap shot on you. I will be removing mentions of the raid from my original video or any other video on Moon assuming, so no one is misled. If you had tried to convince me to remove the allegations prior, such as VincentSkull or Foxton, then I also offer my apologies for testing your patience and acting like a brick wall, despite your efforts to change my mind on this matter. With that all out of the way, I think many of you will have been able to gather that I am quitting commentary as a whole now, whilst removing myself from all associated, bar a few, due to what they post outside of commentary, such as malware or Reupload. Otherwise, I have removed myself from Discord servers, unfollowed those that I watched or listened to for commentary, and made sure I don't come into contact with those creators again, if I can help it by muting Twitter accounts or having YouTube not recommend me stuff. This is to make sure I have next to no influence or interact minimally with the genre in its entirety. That which some may have seen on my Twitter account already, since I will probably only repost things, show art, or post links to new uploads on there if not chatting to others. This would leave Skullman Speaks in somewhat of a grey zone, due to it having potential for me to talk about random things like I've been doing before, but focusing solely on things like movies I've seen or mechanics within games. Nothing like these videos that I had posted back in the past. It may just come down to being used as a way to fill the gap if I'm struggling to upload that week, but otherwise it may go unused for weekly postings. Besides the countless blunders, this is probably for the better on my end as well, considering how much of a struggle I've had with the genre, whether it be picking topics or getting the necessary work done, which has led to me making posts near the end of some weeks postponing the release. Even with the video which was supposed to come out before I went on holiday, it never came to fruition despite having some parts in place. There really just isn't a spot for it in my work ethic because of how little motivation I feel for the craft in of itself now. In any case, I'm going to try to get back to uploading regularly soon enough. Not like it'll matter for another week, since this week is out of the question and insomnia is right around the corner. So I'll spend this time getting things ready for when I actually decide to return and get things running properly once more. At this point, this is all necessary because I have shown constantly that I'm simply doing more harm than good in this community, and even with my better videos, I've demonstrated I'm incapable of listening to outside retorts that don't align with mine. Mistakes are one thing, but if I continue to repeat them and grow worse with what I think I can get away with, then I'm clearly unworthy to follow this path going forwards. At least then I won't be causing additional problems for those who have their heads screwed on straight. It is a shame that things had to come to this, but I have no one to blame but myself really, since there was every opportunity to stand down, but I kept acting recklessly. At least with this new style of content, you won't hear many opinions involving controversy now. In any case, this has been VincentSkullMan, and I probably won't see you again. Maybe.